Hello everyone, and what is going on? Hyperion-Blue-GT here. New update has arrived on Gran Turismo 7 as part of the April 2023 update. Version 1.32 is now being showcased to have 4 new cars, like 2 versions of the TWR SF23 Super Formula, one for the Jaguar XJ220, and of course the 2020 Mercedes-AMG GT3 has now arrived, and just in time before starting out to have all kinds of brand new features on the details. One of them is now being available on the Legend car, and 3 is now being available at the Brand Central. But there is also to have a brand new event is now adding up to have 3 racetrack in Super Formula event to be at Watkins Glen International, Circuit de Santa Cruz, and Fuji International Speedway. That turns out by putting up a brand new decoration is going to be a very good brand new. Also, because one event in the high-speed parade is going to take place to be in Interlagos, so if anything happens, because Hypercar Parade is going to have to go in and expand for having a brand new opportunity. But after all, 2 new escapes like the North York Shrine and Miyazaki is now being available to be featured in the curation of escapes, but there is also to have 2 new extra menus on number 47 is Super Formula to be at collector level 31 and above, and Shelby to be acquired to be on collector level 41 and above. But not to mention, because number 21 to be stopping in to have some Alpine on collector level 35 and above, that you might need to get all kinds of 3 Alpine vehicles, just like to have 1 Classic, 1 Monarch, and also to have a Vision Gran Turismo car. Adding up to have some new sets of conversation with the car designers and characters appearing in the Cab A. These new conversation can be accessed by changing to the following cars in the garage and speaking with the characters in Cab A. So here is Chris using the Jaguar XJ220 1992, Jeremy by having 2 choices to be using with the Mercedes-AMG GT3 2020, Honda engine variant for Stella in the TWR SF23 Super Formula, and of course for the Toyota is now being set to be using by interaction with Jeremy about the details. But there is also to have a Brand Central is now being added to have some new entries for Super Formula, and Bremo sections has been added. Auto start function has now added to the race in lobby in multiplayer, other kinds of different features, and there is also to have a sound to be adjusted on the Audi RS5 Turbo DTM 2019. Mostly to have adjusted the wheel items available for the following car, just like the Toyota Alphard Executive Lounge 2018. So there might be some new objects, as I said earlier, on Fuji International Speedway. There is also to have a Fuji Speedway Hotel is now being seen onto the final corner at the Panasonic turn, Rookie Racing Garage, Podium, billboards, and other items. Looks like Polypity Digital just actually to put up with some new changes, and currently to have some new ones is going to be turns out and very much more awesome to be seen. Other kinds of different features for the update that has all kinds of good opportunities in sports, championship, and of course to have some new online time trials is now going to be available. But at the time, because the trophy has now also to be following to be implemented to be having some requirements to the first Formula Timer trophy. 4 cars is now going to be listed as you may ever see it, and other kinds of localization and others are now going to be addressed and fixing with some other issues. So let's go over to the world map and head on in to be at the Legend cars to be listed at a hot price. But I cannot believe it, folks. The Jaguar XJ220 is now being returned from Gran Turismo 2 to GT6 and onwards to be in GT7 to have a very good excellent price in 615,000 credits. 2,200 miles, but this one is a very good excellent spot silver to be served as a body color. Displacement is 3,498 cc drivetrain MR, 515 horsepower / 7,000 RPM, max torque 473 foot lb / 4,500 RPM, 191.3 inches, 78.7 inches, height 45.3 inches, aspiration type is turbo that has a weight of 3,025 pounds. So beautiful, but I cannot believe it because this road car is now actually to have a very good best popular opportunity, but that's not all because it has also to be putting up to have a race car variant to be shared as a LM race car version to the same vehicle. So let's learn more about this nice awesome SJ220. The Jaguar XJ220 is one of the most unusual performance cars in Jaguar's history. From the 1980s through to the 1990s, the world's car manufacturers produced numerous legendary supercars that are still talked about today. Classic British luxury car maker and racing legend Jaguar made its mark on supercar history with the SJ220. The limited production Jaguar XJ220 was released in 1992, but the project had been in development since the early 1980s. It started as an unofficial project by a group of employees which include Jim Randall, then Jaguar's chief engineer. It was later approved as an official real car project and development of the SJ220 began in earnest. The car's styling takes cues from the legendary Jaguar XJ220 race car prototype of the 1960s, incorporating the elegant form of the classic mid-engine prototype in a style benefiting a modern road car of the 1990s. The construction of the engine and chassis, meanwhile, were based on Jaguar's already successful Group C cars. It features a 534.5 horsepower twin-turbo V6 engine mounted certainly in the aluminum monocoque shell. One of the most famous stories about the SJ220 was that it was so named because the designers set a goal of a 220 mile per hour. Was that it was so named because the designers set a goal of a 220 miles per hour, or exactly to have 354 kilometers at the top speed. Sweet, very sweet, and this one is still have an all-time popular road car and race car since Gran Turismo 2. But the performance point that has 592.62 pp is actually to have a very good source valuable to have a one road car to be added to the index. So 615,000 GT credits, one road car, and very good to be registered and acquired to have a brand new part of the collection. But the headlights turns out to be pop-up and very more realistic. But I can't wait to test this baby out because just going to bring it over onto the GT Auto, and this time customization options is going to have to go in and turns out to have a different kind of a modification just like the LM version since every Gran Turismo games. Alright, just going to go over into the car customization, and this time I'm about to show you guys something because custom parts that you might gonna love this. This looks so very cool and turns out to become much more successful to be serving as a race modification. Here's Type A, and feast your eyes on Type B to have a headlight to be pop out and show its own elegant beauty. And there is also on the side, this one that has to be removed to be on the side fenders to be well placed on the Type A. Anything else? Because any kinds of different wing spoiler options, just like having a Type A, will be quite very good and well compatible. But not to mention because Type B is actually to have a different kind of a wing spoiler that also will be referred to be as a TWR style to the SJ220. So pretty cool, very awesome, and other kinds of different hood parts such as the hood pin. Type A and Type B. Tow hook is now actually to do the same and different position. But I can't say because you might gonna have to take a good look onto the front grille that it has to be removed the Jaguar badge logo to be seen. Pretty neat and pretty awesome. So for only one Jaguar XJ220 in Gran Turismo 7, but there is also to have 3 cars are now available in the Brand Central. Time to make one stop by visit, and gonna have to get the 2020 Mercedes-AMG GT3 is now being served as a brand new updated Group 3 category. So go over to the AMG manufacturer brand just to be sure, and go quickly to have 2 different versions between the same Mercedes-AMG GT3 in the same Group 3 class. But this one is now being served as the original was designed in 2016. But this one is now being designed in 2020. Very good and excellent to have a same performance just like the original and second version. But this one that has 6,208cc drivetrain FR, 614 horsepower / 6,700 RPM, naturally aspirated, and other kinds of different spec and performance that might have a very good excellent default livery variation to the 2020 model. But one color selection, and this one that has orange base and gray trim. But this one that has cost 480,000 GT credits, just like the 2016 version that might have to be used as 450,000 credits. Gonna have to learn more about the second version to the same Mercedes-AMG GT3. The AMG GT3 is a popular race car that has competed in GT3 races all over the world. This is an update to the original model that made its debut in 2019. In addition to being more aerodynamic, it has undergone a complete chassis overhaul to improve handling. More durable than ever and featuring a new parts management system, the AMG GT3 has been optimized for private teams. And with its enlarged grille, you'll be able to distinguish it immediately from its predecessor. True successor to have a 2020 model and predecessor from the 2016. But as you might guys gonna have to see this position where the cursor is gonna be pinpointed to be locating at, that's where the custom parts that you might gonna be adding up with some fog lights. So pretty neat. Just going to go and purchase one 2020 Mercedes-AMG GT3, and that will be a very good available to be registered and added to the index in 480 collector points. So that's one AMG GT3. Next up, gonna have to go double between 2 cars in same vehicle of the GT3 category. Gonna have to choose this original variant is the AMG Team HTP Motorsports. By the way folks, just to make sure and go for having a double car collection, that will have to go compared by the difference. But differences between on the front and exactly to have the main part of the chassis that has a different shape of the fog lights. So there you go. Now on to Super Formula to have 2 cars will be added to the lineup. So differences and very good amazed to have the SF23 Super Formula with the Honda and Toyota engine variants that has all kinds of different variation. So you see, the performance is now being updated and go adjusted by default in 2023 of this model that has 625 horsepower / 9,000 RPM, 398.0 foot lb / 5500 RPM. Aspiration is always meant to be turbo that has 950.79 performance points. So this one is the Toyota that has a different kind of a variant, and this one earlier that has a different kind on the Honda engine version. So pretty neat, and that has a good next 50 is now being celebrated 50 years in the making for the Super Formula series. Gonna have to take a good color selection, and this one that has a good base style. Gonna have to learn more. Cost as usual, just like the SF19 models that has 1 million credits. The Dallara SF23 Super Formula was built for Japan's top-level Formula race series. Introduced in 2023 as the successor to the SF19. It is distinguished by two major features. The first, a new aerodynamic design which promotes more to-wheel racing. The other is its carbon-neutral construction. As a carbon-neutral racer, the SF23 makes use of the sustainable materials for its tires and body cowl, the latter of which is made from low-emission biocomposite materials. As for the tires used by the Super Formula series, they were composed of recycled materials. Like before, power is supplied by both Toyota and Honda. This car runs on Honda-made engine. Same thing like the SF19 models, but it had to go through to have two cars and different variation without any carbon fibers. So that makes 1,000 collector points for each part of the SF23 models. There you go. That's one acquired. Now, gonna have to go purchase to have the same engine and different to be putting up to have a Toyota title. That should be it for now. Looks like this is gonna get much more pretty awesome, and momentarily as we're about to be ready up and go participate of this year's Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup in the 2023 series. Here are some new entries on Super Formula and Brembo, so I'm just gonna have to go over to be on the timeline to be currently to be at 2022 and 2023. As you can see, folks, this is where the best time of the images before Iko Fraka becomes the ambassador of the SF, and then a new chairman along with a brand new SF23 chassis as the next generation. So this one over there is Masahiro Kono becomes the chairman. From April 2023, Masahiro Kondo took over as the new chairman of JRP, replacing long-serving Satoru Nakajima. I guess this guy is going to be a very good chosen to have a best responsibility to take part as a new chairman for Super Formula. Good for him. Many Japanese fans are looking forward to see how his best job is going to be turned out and doing the best moment for the next 50 years for having a long-term beyond vision for Super Formula. But a new digital service is now begins to have a good look to be rated. Because it's called the SF Go service, it also allows fans to experience Super Formula at angles never seen before made its debut. From a PC or smartphone, fans were able not to only watch the race, but view on board cameras, track telemetry data from cars on the track, and listen in on team radios. This looks brand new. Very brand new device for PC and smartphones. So let's go over to Europe. Check on in Italy session on Brembo. Looks like there might be some new brake pads is actually to be well introduced for this year. But this is going to be quite very excellent to have a good new images to be well seen in this year. But a new visual identity that has introduced to have this different image. Brembo unveiled its new visual identity, reflecting the company's strategic vision called turning energy into inspiration. The core element was the restyling of the logo that now embeds the notion of simplicity with a modern and digital soul. And that one over there is the art of braking. At the Mudak Museum in Milan, Brembo's The Art of Braking told the story of braking technology and design through art. Other kinds of details and description from each part of the history, but new beginnings and having some new changes for Brembo because of the brand new logo is actually to become as the official update. Good for Brembo, and this is how the changes and the brakes are still remain to this day. With a tagline for Brembo, turning energy into inspiration. So here they are, folks. York Shrine is now located in England that has a green and rolling hills, and Miyazaki, a road trip around in southern Kyushu. So I had to take a good look. So this one that has a very good, stunning, beautiful background location in Japan. So there is the Omi Shrine, the Sea Cruise, Mount Io, Saibaru Buro Mounds, and this is going to be a very good different selection. And this one over there that has a brand new location called Cape Toy. So pretty neat, much more beautiful, and pretty awesome to have all kinds of Japanese background environment to the main update. So maybe let's start out and have the Hyperion-Blue Bridge. Pretty hard to be pronounced, but this one that has a very good scenic background to be having a one road position is now going to be available for any road car or racing car category. Gonna have to choose the XJ220 and gonna have to zoom right in and feast your eyes and have the headlights are about to have much more surprising to be pop up. Pretty neat, pretty awesome, and much more realistic to have a high advanced technology hardware. Alright, just going to go background blurring and choose this kind of a different position to be well angled up. Over there. Now, it'll have to do just to be perfectly. Picture taken, go by the rendering, and here we go. Not so bad, just for only a beginner's basic to see how average turns out to be very normal. But still has all kinds of different spring background styles to be well seen on Cherry Blossom. So here is Saibaru is now going to be quite very good to be going lovely. But even in the meantime, because just gonna have to go pink style for having one of my Total Drama OC or any kinds of different variations such as Total Drama Island background liveries with Screaming Gophers and Killer Bass will go for the example. So I had to take the Honda NSX Type R with the Killer Bass variation and go right in. Choose any kinds of different background style, doesn't matter, and go be creative. Let's make something dazzling for having some very good taste of a style. So there you go. One picture taken for another. Okay, so that's all for having a one quick tour on Miyazaki to have a good trip around in southern Kyushu. Now, gonna have to go for having a good look on North York Shrine is actually to have a good England. 25 different background selection whenever you like to pick, because this one that has very brand new to be related on to GT7 as part of the main update. So I had to take one good selection pick and gonna have to go for exactly to be luscious and going green. So let's go enter it in the York Shrine Deos. Prepare for having a preparation background to be well creative. Okay, something else that has a very good taste of a British related vehicle to be well chosen. How about gonna have to go with a Radical SR3 SL 2013 or maybe in America to be using with a Ford Mustang Group B rally car. Just going to go by example and take a good look to have a much more beautiful background style to be well basic and turns out to have a different kind of imagination. So there you go, just gonna have to keep a good creative touch. Another picture will go rendering by the taking. So there you go. after having one picture taken in Yorkshire, so any kinds of different locations that are related to have all kinds of different selection whenever you like to pick, because it is going to have to go much more beautiful, more realistic, and turns out to have a different kind of an artwork style whenever you want to have something else in your own mind. So I guess that will be doing much more quick tour for doing escape background selection to be featured. So hop on in to be having a good participation entered in sport mode because of the opening of the virtual Olympic esports series. But I almost forgot one other thing. After having one hard attempt is now challenging to be turns out and putting up with some different changes in sport mode. So currently to be at 1,000. So currently to have 17,108 placed after clear from the Radical SR3 SL 2013 at Dragon Trail Gardens. Just to be adding up, and there you go. 5.7 million credits is now going up and back on track. So I had to take a good look, and this time it's about to have one lap time challenge and adding up by 2. So looks like Group 3 at Fuji International Speedway and Alfa Romeo Giulia GT AM 2020 at Red Bull Ring. Looks like ranking registration is about to be changed and putting up ourselves for having a brand new challenge. So be sure you guys, you might gonna have to participate in the Olympic Esports Series 2023 motorsport event at Deep Forest Raceway in about 9 days left, so you're gonna have to hurry up, go earlier, and don't get late. That's how, just gonna have to be sure as a reminder to have a very good important opportunity to get this reward increased by 100%. Just like the 2022 World Series final in Monaco at Willow Springs International Raceway in the Big Willow for the Suzuki B6 Escudo Pikes Peak Special 1998. But this is going to have to get a brand new challenge as part of the esports series made by the Olympic. So anything else to have all kinds of different icon changes on daily race. So here is race A, race B, and C on Autodrome Lago Maggiore is now going to be having a different track layout, Kyoto Driving Park Yamagiwa, and Le Mans in the 24 Heroes racetrack. So things are about to get much more usual. BOP apply is now being set on medium. But as you guys have already seen, 3 of my content videos is now being related onto daily race. It's going to have to do some training onto the road to driver rating A. So I have to keep an eye out on the 2023 series on the GTWS Nations Cup and Manufacturers Cup will have to schedule and go by coming soon, as the start of the first round in the 2023 series in Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup will be at Fuji International Speedway between 2 different versions of the Toyota 86, the Terreno and the Levin. Well, I can't say because takes a lot of preparation and go overdrive, as I'm about to be went down and go visiting at Fuji International Speedway in the World Circuit. From the last update that used to be turns out to have all kinds of different changes and environment before new structures are about to be coming in for the new update. So let's go over and visiting Fuji International Speedway, but here it is. There's the hotel building right over there. Just where the cursor is about to be pinpoint right over onto the final corner. But this one is going to be turns out to become beautiful and much more brand new. So just going to choose any kinds of layout between full course or short course. Gonna have to go by the sunrise and let's have a good look, cruise around and go explore to have the same track with different styles by having a brand new change. Trying out with the Jaguar XJ220 give you some best nostalgia since Gran Turismo 2. But in the meantime, because taking place on Fuji International Speedway by having some different decoration including the podium, different signs and billboard all together. But that's not all, because the environment is still yet remain the same and adding up to have 2 different buildings somewhere around in Sector 3. rookie garage, and a Fuji hotel is now being set and located around in the Panasonic corner. But this is going to get much more beautiful out there, and best moment to be participate in the first round of this year's Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup will be driving on in between the 8.6 models of the Terreno and the Levin. So here it is, guys. Two buildings are now being rebuilt, the garage and the hotel itself. But I cannot believe it because Liberty Digital is now putting up to be renovating onto the track that has all kinds of different changes around for having a best environment. But after all, 4 cars is going to get much more perfect out there as I'm about to be using with the XJ220 1992. So here I go. Gonna have to be ready and go rev it up onto the final turn to have a good look out there onto the Fuji Hotel. Magnificent, so very magnificent, and this is how this part of the interior view is going to get much more realistic. It's now being turns out to become as a full premium detail view. But whenever you might have to take a good look to be on a flashing signal, because that is going to be quite so very amazing to have that pop-up headlights are about to get fully function. So time it begin, and this time it will have to go cruise around in 3 laps. We'll put it to the test. But of course, because this part of the recording session that has contains with 2 or 3 seconds interruption during the part of my session. But it takes 4 days that I just really gonna have to come up with a perfection ways for this part of the combined full segment video. About the handling style of the Jaguar XJ220. The road car is actually to have a very good, unique handling style of performance thanks to Jaguar to be served as a Group C race car in the 1992 24 Hours of Le Mans. But it takes a very good, excellent, unique body style to be served to have this different style of the chassis is now being served as a racing car category. But look at this beauty, you guys. The chassis still remain the same. Wing spoiler is now being the same as well. The rims, and mostly they have a nice realistic style is actually to be turns out in full wheel beauty. So there's the rookie garage, just going to go pass by onto the 13th turn before coming up and proceed at the Panasonic. But you guys might gonna have to try this out because that might have to be treated to be served as a real car and racing car as a variation. But not to mention because the Emblem Edition is now going to be quite very good to be suitable to be using for this car, only to be driving to be categorized to be labeled and nicknamed as a Group 2 car. So very cool to drive, and just gonna have to go rotational view to have that headlights are about to be pop up. See? This one is so very cool for the first time ever in GT7 as part of the update. On to lap number 2. Time to dive in, steady and carefully to have the first lap attempt in about a minute, 55.685 seconds. Gonna have to keep up racing and go clean well. But I'm so very good to have a much more love to be excellent to the XJ220. Just like old times from the previous Gran Turismo games, but now this is going to have to take a good different handling, and 5 color selection is now being set by default when you're visiting at the Legend Car dealership. The beauty, the sound of the engine, and the speed with some excellent handling performance. So that's how Jaguar just actually did a good successful ever since from 1992. Oh, and by the way, because that might be quite very possible to have the Emblem Edition to have 2 different kinds of a wing spoiler to be on the Emblem style from the previous Gran Turismo games, and mostly to have the different kind of the wing style is now also to be referred as the TWR Wing spoiler. But I kind of think because this is going to get much more pretty excited to have some different customization options when you're at the GT Auto. Gonna have to keep up the handling and go pass by at the Panasonic again with the Fuji Hotel building. kick it up onto the third gear. Finishing at the end of the second lap. So here comes the third lap, and just to see how the different signs are about to get much more differently from the last update. But currently, it is going to be turns out to be very different this time. So going forward on lap number 3, time to go and beat my current lap time before 1 minute and 53 seconds is going to be set and checked to be labeled as the main objective. Coca-Cola corner is now cleared. Now for the 100R is on the way in turn 4 and 5. Passive steady handling and much more moderation to go quick acceleration towards the hairpin on turn number 6. Perfection and going well to see how one road car can actually to be taking on and challenging with some supercars, and especially for the hypercars, just like the McLaren F1 ever since to be driving between to have a fierce showdown with the XJ220 back in the early 1990s. But mid-90s is actually to be quite very good and best popular to this day. So almost there to take a good steady turn on the nets. Hard lap as it goes, and then proceed on to the right turn at the Panasonic again. This nice retro supercar is a good stylish performance, is going to get much more speeder as it goes. Time to gain with some increased pace. Going forward, and lap time cleared by 1 minute 53.518 seconds. Almost there to have a perfect top speed, and there it goes. So you see, it takes 176 miles per hour when you're taking a 1 meter distance. It's gonna have to go climb up and catch us up to be on the 1000 meter is actually to go well tested. So you might gonna have to bring this car over to Special Stage Route X and get down to do some analysis. But after all, because this is a most finest popular road car since GT2 is now actually to have the best ever racing car category to be served as a modification for this part of the road car. So let's exit out. Best time is now going average, and attempt number 1 is now going clear to be having a car tryout for the first time ever. So let's go to the outcome standings in session 1. Sector 2 just actually did a good run in 23.378 seconds. Sector 2 and 3, highlight in the green on lap number 3, 36.167 seconds and 53.954 seconds. See it. And there you go. Headlights are about to be popped up. Going exit, doubly, and save a replay as well before going in to take car number 2 to try out with 2 SF23 models with Toyota and Honda engine versions. Alright, so I really hope gonna have to take 2 versions of the SF23 Super Formula that has the same performance, same PP to be on 950.79, and different variation is now going set, and same trim to be on the color brown. But that's not all, because that's not all because a different tire sticker is now turns out to become fully default and fully well official, was sponsored by Yokohama and its rim aftermarket brand Aben. But it is going to get much more differences just like the same SF19 models. But however, because the wing spoiler is about to get much more very different to see how 2 versions of the Honda and Toyota of the SF23s. No overtake function at this moment during the time trial because I'm about to go faster and rev up for having 3 laps by the limitations. So timer begins right now. Going straight forward, hop on inside of the interior view, but this is actually to be becoming much more remain the same just like the SF19 models. However, because this has all kinds of different updated features, it's now being improved for having some more speed, handling, and durability to go maintained by the balance. Gonna have to keep going, stay on track, and go for the hairpin on turn number 6. Very good. Proper balance is now going well on turn 7 through turn 9. But I bet this is gonna have to take some more practice because Honda and Toyota with the same SF23s will have to go at it to see which is the best or get better. Now going in to take the nets, followed by in 14 and 15, and then turn 16 at the Panasonic. Just to be passed by at the Fuji Hotel. Going straight and go well forward to be added to have a good exact top speed limit. So here it comes. Going increase the pace. Entered lap number 2 by a minute, 28.458 seconds. And for this part of the calculations, 178 miles per hour in the top speed to be on the 1,000 meter distance is going check and clear. That will be the main part of the example during the update by having 2 SF23 models at Fuji International Speedway. So here it comes, just going to go into action by having a ghost mode to be added. Almost there at the end of the month because this is going to get much more closer before moving on in May, which is today and tomorrow. But of course, because it takes some long delays and having some main lookout to be on a surveillance by having some skipping interruption for only 2 or 3 seconds. But still going to have to get used to it. After all, live stream will have to take some time before the 2023 Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup will be on the same place between 2 versions of the AE86. And there's also to have one other thing after I just finishing for only one part of the objective to be on the roadmap. As part of my Total Drama fan art, Vision Total Drama is now being checked and well done with some 2 teams from Total Drama Island from the original with Screaming Gophers and Killer Bass. But this time, Total Drama characters that has all kinds of different representation during the first season back from 2007. But good thing it's all done, and just gonna have to take one more Total Drama livery before moving on to take on in Total Drama Action with Screaming Gappers and the Killer Griffs. But it takes some development for myself, but it'll have to get much more suitable and making some massive changes for my Total Drama fan art project. But after all, because the windshield banner is now going to be set and good to go to be available to be using on Gran Turismo 7. Other TD liveries are still remain from GT Sport is now still yet to be available. So let's keep going. Looks like the dirt lap is about to get much more served, and keep it up. Exactly by a minute and 28 seconds is still going in by the usual. Just to be proved, and let's see which is going to have to take some average workout to go faster to the limit. I really hope one lap is going to have to do faster for the best. And that makes 1 minute 27.392 seconds is about to get much more suitable to see how Honda is going to have to go harder and get at it. So let's get closer, stay on track, and keep it go. Very much more impressive, but it'll have to break that record by a minute and 27 seconds before going decreased by 26. .8 seconds. Come on, just going to keep going and stay on track. Hold the brake. take turn 10 by doing the Dunlop curve. Chicane successful. Now for the 13. Steady as it goes. Very good perfection. Going cleared. And then Panasonic at the final turn. More speed, more balance handling, and good quick efficiency. So it turns out that this is going to get much more surprising to see how Honda is putting up with some different decals to be using with this SF23 to have a white color base color example. But mostly because the brown trim on the rear is actually to be yet official, along with the Yokohama is now going to be placed to be doing the same type of the variation, just like the Toyota engine to the same SF23. But it is going to be quite very impressive, but this one is going to be quite very good, well chosen by 50% between Honda or Toyota who had to go for it to be exclusive and participate to this year's event. So here's the best time when trying out with the Honda engine version, 1 minute 26.744 seconds. Outcome standings on the first session is now going differently to be highlighted in the green. Right, so gonna have to go and do a replay by capture thumbnail image just to be seen, and just gonna go by 10-second skipping part to be on the main part of the segment. Gonna have to zoom in the camera, and there you go. Gonna have to go exit out, double times, and going triple. Well, quadruple by the way, but just gonna have to go and be patiently. So there you go. 2 replays saved, normal, and best lap time. Okay, I'm about to have the next turn using with a Toyota version to the same SF23. This will be a most challenging lap time to go objective by having a placement for Honda is 1 minute and 26.744 seconds. This time is about to get much more harder to get more serious. Let's find out and see how the potential for the Toyota engine version to the same SF23. But as you may ever see when you're inside of the interior view, the decal is about to get more different than you might see Toyota Gazoo Racing logo. Very good and much more color in red, just like Honda to be colored in white. So the timer begins right now. Let's do this and go for 3 laps. Will be set as usual. So after I just took 4 laps when driving with a Honda engine version to this same SF23, but still got some same performance, speed, handling, and more mobility is actually to give a good exact balance to see which is going to be the best or the better to be on the most fastest lap time around the track. Gonna have to keep my hopes, stay focusing, and go hard objective by 1 minute and 25 seconds to see how the Toyota engine version can handle it. But it's still got the same potential and got a whole lot of good potential spirit. Is gonna have to stay on track a bit to be mastered on Fuji. 13 is now in the clear. Go for the nets. And go for the Panasonic to have a good perfect line at it. There we go. Looks like it's all in, and go full straight in a 1,000 meter run. That's 1 minute and 28.668 seconds. Time to go lap number 2. Pull the brake. On to turn number 1. Keep up the good pace and stay on track without a ghost car to be on the scene. Turn 3 and Coca-Cola is now going cleared as the Eagle is flying in the sky. Much very good. Stay on track is a very good clever for this part of the SF23 model, just like the last SF19 model. Going cleared on Sector 2, onwards to Sector 3. So you see, it looks so very much more same, and the tire sticker is actually to be well default as the official to be sponsored by Yokohama, and Appen is now being actually to have a good aftermarket brand. But it looks very cool, and actually to have the previous model is now currently to have this different part of the chassis and the wing spoiler. But I mean, it turns out because Honda and Toyota is actually to be well shared and exactly to have this part of the variation. But after all, because the car number is now actually to be set by default as the official ever since 50 years in the making for the Japanese automotive motorsports. But it's still popular and very much more succeeded for the Japanese motorsport is actually to have some best opportunities and whole new levels for every part of the motorsport event in the country of Japan. So on to the third lap. Gonna have to keep it up and stay on track because it'll have to take much more faster and go high effort. But I can't wait to see how the SF23 is going to be set and good to go for the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup. Practice, always just going to keep a good exact balance between speed and handling. So here comes the perfect improvement. Just you wait, and just gonna have to go hard at it. Very good quick recovery. And for the gap distance are about to get a little bit decreased for only a short second. And there you go. New record cleared. 1 minute 26.633 seconds. But I hope it's about to go hard at it because this has to turn this attempt around. Let's see how the ghost car can handle it to catch up onto my current position by the ejected. Now down the hill on the Coca-Cola in turn 3, 100R in turn 4 and 5. Very quick, agile, and more efficient is going well improved. Very outstanding to see how one Toyota version of the SF23 is going faster and pedal to the metal. Very good response on turn 10 to 12. Steady right on turn 13 and then going back at the nets. But save it for the best part to find a good line. Panasonic on turn 16. Going full straight, looks like lap number 4 is going to have to take a hard effort. And there we go. New record is now going achieve cleared. 1 minute 25.509 seconds for Toyota engine to the same SF23. Very nice, very good, and much more impressive. So, it takes much fine effort for only 4 laps between two SF23 models is actually to be served as a 1 lap top ejected. But looks to me because it takes 4 attempts is going to have to take 1 run and updatable to be on each part of the sector on number 1 through 3. So here is sector 1 and 2 in lap number 4. 19.563 seconds, and sector 2 25.247 seconds. And for the third lap in sector 3, 40.446 seconds. That should be very good, and all-time best average is now going well achieved, and Toyota in the SF23 Super Formula is now going to be coming up very good fastest lap time to be well achieved, just like Honda. So there you go. thumbnail image captured, and this one is going to be set to be served on the replay on the normal and best lap time. I kind of say it because it was a lot of good fun out there to try out with 3 cars in a time trial event. Is going to have to go for the workout. 1 road car, 2 SF23 Super Formulas, and this time it's going to have to go set and will prior from yesterday earlier will have to be tried out and go for the Mercedes-AMG GT3 2020. Let's switch cars and go over to have a brand new Group 3 car from 3 years ago. But after all, because it takes some time and going development, it's going to have to be on a reminder before at the end of the month. Today's daily workout is going to be at 442. For today's workout, 42.5 miles is now going up and reach up forward to have a 4-star roulette ticket. Okay viewers, time for having a one-on-one showdown in the custom race between 2016 and 2020 models of the Mercedes-AMG GT3 is about to be having a same Group 3 category. Will go all the way. So I'll have to be using for the second version to the same Mercedes-AMG, while my Total Drama OC Genesis Briggs will be using for the original model is now ready up and go for having a different session on the grid. But it takes 3 laps as always, just going to be sure and go for having a proper test run to see which is the best by the same performance. After all, because it turns out to have different variation, different styles, and mostly to have an improved version, just like the Audi R8 LMS, Lexus RCF GT3, and of course Nissan GT-R Nismo GT3 to have a 2013 and 2018 model versions. No matter how several Group 3 cars is going to get more likely and well expanded to have all kinds of part of the lineup opportunity before proceed forward onto the 2023 GTWS Manufacturers Cup. So let's go and be prepared for having one part of the race to see which is the same Mercedes-AMG between 2016 and 2020 will go in. Let's get it on and dive on in at the first turn. As you can see folks, my OC Genesis is now using for the original version the same Mercedes-AMG that has a different style, and mostly to have some digital number pads is now being shown on the rear windows. But mostly for the 2020 it does not, because it has to be customizable to be using in the GT Auto to be applied on Type A, will be usable to be on the fog lights. That's how this car is going to be very brand new to the update ever since from 3 years ago. So I had to be ready to go for the chase and catch up to my OCs is now currently to use the same car. Going in on Sector 3. Just going to keep working hard. Pedal to the metal. Onto the 13. Stay steady as it goes. But it takes exactly around in 2 seconds of the gap. We'll have to get much more closer to be increased the peak of the acceleration. But on the inside of the interior view, but it looks the same, just like the original, but it has all kinds of different changes that are related to the 2020 model for the same Mercedes-AMG GT3 as part of the Group 3 category. But look around, because it turns out to be remain to be doing the same and different style to have an orange base model, and gray trim is now being served as an update variation. So on to lap number 2. Gonna have to catch up and go back onto turn 1. Step in and gonna have to go hard racing compound tires this time. There we go on turn 3. Going back at the 100R. Very good, but it'll have to take much more improve on the suitable different aerodynamic ever since to be well designed to be updated for the same car. But very good to be putting up with some FIA GT3 regulation to the 2020 models to the same Mercedes-AMG. true successor, just like the original that has the original styles ever since from the discontinue of the Mercedes-Benz SOS AMG GT3. But at the time, because originally to be starting out from the 24 Hours of Nürburgring back in 2016 for the first original style as the first gen model. But it still got some different style, and well, aerodynamic spoiler is now being served to be part as a Group 3 regulation before being set in Gran Turismo Sport. But on Gran Turismo 7, this car is now putting up with some different changes and adding up to have a different aerodynamic and different styles on the chassis. Looks so very different, and the style model is still yet to be seen. So almost there, enter and proceed at the final lap. So let's go dive in. My OC is waiting for me because he's still in the lead. First sector down, 2 more to go. Gonna have to amp up my strategy and go dive down onto the 100R. He's slowing down. Looks like he's waiting for me, folks. And there we go. Overtake at the hairpin in turn 6. Oh, side by side. Looks like he might have to go aggressive this time. Come on, just gonna make one push. Sector 3, here I go. Looks like one risk is gonna have to take much more harder to get closer to the 2016 model. The original and the new model, like the teacher and the student. Alright, looks like gonna have to get closer onto turn 15, step it up, and go forward at turn 16. This has to be it. One more push, and final stretch on ahead. Now's the time that I have to go slipstream to go overtake to get closer. Looks like this is gonna have to take one more closer chance, and there it is. First place, and much more proud and applause. Alright, very good and different style. But by the way, because as you may ever see the headlights to the same Mercedes-AMG GT3 on the 2020 and 2016 model. But it looks very different because that has all kinds of different features and yet to be applied for ever since to see how the original and the update is now being well differenced by the same chassis and actually to have some different styles. But very good race. Very much more race and much obliged ever since I just barely took a fastest lap time to be cleared on lap number 2. Good job, Genesis. Good thing I just took first place for the win. And that is an excellent, excited thrill of the showdown between two Mercedes-AMG GT3s. Now that's a good standard test run competition to go for the showdown. But you guys might gonna have to try it out at any time because differences between 2016 and 2020 models of the same Mercedes-AMG GT3 in a different brand title. But that would be doing much more true successful and much more proud updated to be well participate in the FIA GT3 category. Now onto the replay because this is going to have to take one best part of the moment before skip on in to be in the final run. And there you go, folks. Two Mercedes-AMG GT3s is now having a picture perfect by capture thumbnail. Looks so very different and same on the chassis. Very much more obliged to have a good race and one-on-one showdown is now absolutely going well and save a replay as well. I kind of think about the update is about to have one track by adding up a decoration to be turns out to be very different and still yet the same, along with 4 cars with 2 SF23s, 1 Mercedes, and of course the all-time favorite road car from the 1990s since Gran Turismo 2. But after that, next event and go challenging will be prior to Sunday as part of the first round in Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup for the 2023 series. So let's go back to the GT garage and go visiting to be doing some part of the car collection ever since they have 4 vehicles to be registered to the index. So let's scroll down and start out to be on Germany to look forward and have a good check to be outside on the 2020 model. But this one is an improved and more cost-effective GT3 machines. Very true successor is now being served as an updated Group 3 car. Just like the original ever since to be racing in the 24 Hours of Nürburgring in its very first outing, because that has a very good true dominance to see how the first generation since 2016. Now on to Japan. Scroll down and have a good look to be eyesight on 2 SF23 models. So here they are right now. Let's click on Honda. The next evolution of Super Formula cars aim to bring sustainability to motorsports. Very good check, thumbs up to be double on Honda and Toyota. Alright. Very cool, and still yet to be seen by having a same title between 2 SF23 models like the SF19. And now for the UK, Jaguar XJ220. A road-going Group C car with breathtaking bodywork. Nice work and very quick description for Jaguar ever since they had the XJ220 is now being arrived in Gran Turismo 7. But good job and putting up to have all kinds of different custom parts like the LM Edition and having a joint venture with TWR. But by the way, because this has a very good excellent joint venture with TWR that has a very good related to the XJ220. But I kind of think because all kinds of different variation that is also to be exclusive to this car is becoming much more beautiful from a road car into a racing car is now being served as a variation. So, what do you guys think about the update in April 2023? Give your thoughts and question because my best pick, the Jaguar XJ220, is a very good best 20th century road car in the 1990s. Very perfect and very much more all-time popular since Gran Turismo 2 between road car and a race modification. But the second between 2 versions of the SF23 Super Formula with Honda and Toyota engine variants. But still the same by the performance and different variation is now turns out to becoming much more good rather than using the carbon based fiber from the SF19 models. And for the third one, because the Mercedes-AMG GT3 is absolutely to have a 2020 models to be as a true successor from the original back from 2016. The chassis looks so very different and still yet to be seen by having a different style and especially to have a headlight aerodynamics on the wing spoiler. But after all, because that is going to be quite very good to see how a 2020 model will be set and race on over to be participate in the 2023 series in the Gran Turismo World Series Manufacturers Cup. Alright folks, time to wrap this up before at the end of the video. Challenging times to be participate in time trial in sport mode because you'll have to take 1 average lap time challenge, we'll have to go by the double, and Olympic esports will be coming in about 9 days left. It takes hard work and go challenging will go for the overdrive. But I can feel it folks, I can feel it, and let's get ready to go and race on in for having a lap time challenge to go workout. Thank you for watching on my video in Gran Turismo 7 folks. I hope you enjoyed. Just go subscribe to my YouTube channel for a like, comment, and click the bell for notifications on upcoming content videos if you like to see. And don't forget to follow me on any social media platforms like DeviantArt, Instagram, GT Planet, Twitter, and more to see for my own image artwork like UDRS liveries, Total Drama fan art with card liveries, and more whenever you're welcome at any time. I'll be see you guys next time on Gran Turismo 7 and I look forward to see you again in the next video. Keep on racing, stay clean.